Hi, this is Trade Passer, and welcome to the Horoscope 101 channel. Today's Saturday, so it's my turn up again, once again, and this week is hot sci-fi horror, and hopefully you've seen the other videos from my fellow YouTubers. There's been some great selections this week, so for my turn for sci-fi horror, I picked a movie that I saw years ago, and this is called Mimic. Okay, this is directed by Guillermo del Toro. I think I pronounced that right without butchering it. Anyway, this is the director's cut. Anyway, this movie stars Mia Sorvino, Jeremy Northam, Giancarlo Giannini, I think I pronounced that right, Charles Dutton, and Josh Brolin, and F. Murray Abraham. Basically, this movie is about, in the year 1994, kids in New York and Manhattan are dying from a disease called Strickler's disease that's carried by the common cockroach. And of course, the kids are dying, and people are struggling to try to find out a solution to stop these kids from dying. And an entomologist played by Mia Sorvino, Dr. Susan Tyler, she introduces a mutant breed of insect she calls it the Judas breed, which secretes this fluid which is intended to kill off these cockroaches. And of course, it's successful. She introduces it into the population. It's successful, and the kids stop dying, so everything's great in the world. Anyway, you flash forward 3 years, and then you see that these mysterious deaths happen, and people are starting to investigate it. And then you come to find out that this Judas breed that was introduced into the sewer and was only supposed to last one generation actually has evolved. And what it actually did was, because Susan Tyler, the doctor, she sped up its metabolism. Okay, so I guess secrete more of the fluid that would kill the cockroaches. It also sped up its breeding cycle, and so within those 3 years, it kept evolving and evolving and evolving until it. And they even mention in the movie that insects in nature, sometimes they mimic, hence the title, their prey or their predator, or the predators after them. And so in this movie, you come to find out that these bugs are mimicking, their next prey, which is human beings. Okay, and this is a really good movie. I really enjoyed this, and like I said, the cast is solid. Mia Sorvino, she plays Dr. Susan Tyler. Jeremy Northam is her husband, Dr. Peter Mann. And then you have Charles Dutton as Leonard. He's a transit cop. And Josh Brolin is a colleague of Jeremy Northam. His character is called Josh. And F. Murray Abraham plays Dr. Gates. He's like the mentor of Dr. Susan Tyler. Okay, and like I said, it starts off in 1994, then it zooms ahead to 1997, where you see basically the results of these Judas breed that they thought would die off actually didn't die off, and it's starting to, you see it in the beginning of the movie. It starts to it's imitating man, and it's breeding and evolving, and pretty soon it's gonna basically she basically says it's gonna probably wipe out man. That's what she basically says. Anyway, this movie, like I said, has a lot of tension, and most of it takes place underneath the ground, because once they find out that that the Judas breed actually didn't die off, and that it's basically evolved, okay, they go underground to try to stop it. And of course, they run into more of them. Okay, and you have a lot of good suspense, a lot of tension. Okay, and basically Charles Dutton's character Leonard, the cop, and Jeremy Northam's character Dr. Peter Mann, they clash a lot. They're going underneath the, with Josh Brolin's character, whose name is Josh. They go under, they go underneath. They get a warrant, and they go on to try to investigate and see, what's going on down, underneath the ground at this abandoned. I guess it's in Manhattan, I guess in an abandoned part of the subway system. Okay, and of course, Mia Sorvino, like I said, she's Dr. Susan Tyler, and she also finds, actually, her and her colleague, they discover, they get brought to them of like a bug that they, by these kids that found it, in the subway, and it's actually one of these Judas breed bugs that she introduced that actually evolved, okay, even further, okay. So basically, they're trying to stop this Judas breed, and also you have Giancarlo Giannini. He plays Manny. He's like he works in the subway station. He signs shoes for a living, and he has a son named Chewy, who's like I think he has Asperger's syndrome. I think that is where he basically he can look at anybody and he can tell what size shoes they wear and what brand, and he also carries spoons with him, and he can imitate basically any sound. Okay, and like I said, you have a lot of good tension once they get underneath, underground, and they run into these Judas breed, and of course then you have all this tension of them basically battling to survive and get away from this this Judas breed, which is of course trying to kill them, and you have a lot of great looking special effects underground, and also like I said, this is the director's cut, and I was reading a little about this movie, and they also said that of course Guillermo del Toro disowned, I guess, the original cut of this movie, because they said Bob Weinstein, I guess, was the producer, kept, I guess, interfering, kept coming to the set and suggesting stuff and trying to change things around. So I guess he got disgusted with it, and they say he disowned the film. But then I guess he got to get his director's cut, to release his director's cut, and I guess this version of it is his vision of it. And they also say that he never worked with the Weinsteins again after this, because I guess he was so disgusted with them, or with Bob Weinstein interfering with his film. But anyway, I like this film. Like I said, Charles Dutton is really really I'm not gonna say a bastard, but he's really he's a really rough guy. I'd say him and Jeremy Norton's character Peter Man, they're constantly basically sniping at each other, and Josh Brolin's he's basically just this is colleague and making jokes every once in a while. And Mina Cervena, she's good in this. Like I said, she's the doctor that basically, she's the one that figures out, of course, first that the Judas breed, since she introduced it, I guess she would. And she the bug got brought to her. So she one discovers that this Judas breed is really evolving into man, and she's the one that basically tells them what's going on, and basically that they have to stop this thing, because if it spreads, it's going to potentially wipe out mankind with their sped up metabolism and their breeding cycle. Like I said, they evolved to man. The next thing you know, they're going to wipe man out. So there's a lot of tension and creepiness to see how they're going to stop this this Judas breed from spreading. And it's really good movie. Like I said, a lot of it takes place underneath the ground in the subway, in this abandoned subway station, and a lot of tension and stuff. I won't tell you who dies and who lives. So I think it's the joy of watching this movie. And like I said, this is the director's cut, so I don't remember their original cut. But this one I really enjoyed, and I definitely would highly recommend this. So that's my review of Mimic, the director's cut. Really good movie. Definitely highly recommend this. And stay tuned for next week on the Horoscope 101 channel. I believe next week is the for horror, it's the original and remakes. I think that's the next thing up. Okay. So like I said, my channel, of course, I'll leave a link to my channel somewhere in here, so you can watch my regular channel where I do Blu-ray updates and Saturday reviews. I do Saturday reviews and stuff, and unboxing contests. Okay, so definitely subscribe. I'll leave to the Horoscope 101 channel. I'm really enjoying doing this, and I really love watching my fellow YouTubers and their contribution to this channel, and I really appreciate this, and thank everybody out there for watching our videos, and I really like being a part of this channel. Okay, so feel free to leave your comments down below, and this is Trey Pastor saying so long and take care.